Advanced Math, Lesson 45, Conditional Permutations, and two variable analysis using a graphing calculator. So conditional permutations, it's just another confinement that we're putting on our permutation problems that makes us use a little bit of logical thinking. So the first example tells us how many odd counting, they ask us how many odd counting numbers can be formed from the digits 3, 4, and 5 if no repetition of digits is permitted. If we've got these numbers 3, 4, 5, and we want to figure out how many odd numbers we can make with this. Well, the first option is we've got 3 digits, so we can make a 3-digit number. Now we can also make 2-digit numbers, and then we've also got 1-digit numbers. So these are the 3 size numbers we're going to have, and we're just going to take the values and we're going to add them all together. I'll start with the 1-digit because that's the easiest. If we want it to be odd, how many odd options do we have to put in here? Well, that's going to be 2. So the first answer is going to be really simple. That's just, we've got 2 options for 1-digit numbers. Now when it comes to 2-digit numbers, the last value has to be odd again. So we've only got 2 options to choose from for the last digit. Now we're not doing repetition. So if we use 1 digit here, how many options do we have for the second, or for the 10th place digit? Well, it doesn't matter if this is even or odd. So even if we use one of our odd numbers, we still have 2 options for the second digit. So that'll be 2 times 2. 2 times 2 giving us 4. So that leaves us with the 3rd digit, or the 3-digit number. Again, we'll go from the rear to the front because we want this last digit to be odd. If we want this last digit to be odd, we have 2 choices. And then after we remove one of our odd choices, we still have 2 choices left here because it doesn't matter what digit that is. And then after we use our second choice, we've only got 1 number left. So that's going to be 1 times 2 times 2, which also gives us 4 possibilities. So to add these all up, 4 and 4 and 2 add up to 10 possible answers. So that's 10 possible odd digits that can be created with these. So that's the logic that we're adding to our permutations. Now, they're not all that easy, so let me see if I can find a hard example. Here we go. Let's see here. 5 math books. So 5 math books and 4 English books are on a shelf. How many permutations are possible if the math books must be kept together and the English books must be kept together? So you might have seen from the group there, we've got to keep the split between math and English books. So this first one will be English and math. So we can arrange them to where math books show up first and English books show up second. And then we can also arrange them to where English books show up first and then math books show up second. Now it says we have 5 math books and 4 English books. And since these are books and we're not able to recreate them, there's no repetition allowed. So our 5 math books will show up in the form of 5 options for the first, 4 options for the second, 3 options, 2 options, 1. And then the English books will show up in the permutation of 4 options, 3 options, 2 options, 1. And it's that simple. We just line them up like that, and then we multiply them. Another way to do this, we could see it as being written as 5 factorial times 4 factorial. So then we go to our calculator. We'll press 5, math, go over, factorial, and then we'll times that by 4, factorial. That gives us 2,880. So we've got 2,880 options there. And then on the bottom, if we do English books first, and then math book second, we get 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's actually going to be the exact same thing because it doesn't matter what order I multiply in. So that's going to give me another 2,880 options. I add those together. That gives me 5,760. So 5,760 ways to arrange 9 books on a shelf. Yeah, I'm gonna skip. I think that's the most complex example I see. The rest are either different variations of that. So again, you just got to use logic to figure out what order your slots are arranged in, and then how many options there are for each slot. So that's just that's permutations. We should be getting pretty good at those by now. Next, we have to learn how to do 2 variable analysis using a graphing calculator. I'm pretty sure I told you guys this was coming, which is they're going to stop giving us these useful graphs to figure out the equation of these lines. So we're going to have to use our graphing calculators to insert this data in terms of gold, which is gold, which is AU, and silver, which is AG. So we'll go to our graphing calculator. 1 second. Okay, now that I've got my calculator, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start graphing, or we'll start putting this information onto our calculator. So we'll go to our, let me see here, where can I arrange this? Okay, so first thing we're going to go to our statistic or stat function. Man, this glare is terrible. I think I had this problem yesterday. Well, let me see if I can fix the glare. All right, glare is gone. Just really quick. So we gotta plot all this data into our calculator. So we're gonna hit our stat button. That's gonna bring us to this list. We're gonna go ahead and select enter when it comes to edit. And I need to get this thing focused a little bit better. There we go. So then we see we got list 1, list 2. We've got a group of lists. I'm going to go ahead and start on list 1. If your list has data like mine did before I pulled out my calculator, you just go ahead and hit the delete button. So let's say I had a bunch of old data in there from a previous problem. I'll just go to the top and then hit delete until that list is empty. And then I'll start plugging in my information here. So I'm going to start with 82, hit enter. 87, enter, and then on the Y list or the AG list, I'll go ahead and do the same thing. So 9.5, enter, and then you fill those 2 lists. So list 1 is going to be your first data points. List 2 is going to be your second data points. I'm going to pause and fill this in. Ta-da! Okay, so now that you've got all your data entered in your list, you're going to go ahead and quit that, and then you're going to hit second, and then stat plot. Again, the control might be a little bit different on your calculator. From here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to set the parameters for plot. Actually, sorry. First thing I'm going to do is make sure all my old plots are off. Okay, yeah, so here I see 4 is off, 3 is off, 2 is off. I'm going to go to 1. I'm going to turn it to on. I'm going to make sure the type is right here on scattered, that plot. My X list is going to be my list 1. My Y list is going to be list 2. The mark is going to be this plus symbol. All right, and then the color, you can make whatever you want. Let's go with green. That seems to show up pretty well. It's going to be green. So now that my plot is set, the next thing I'm going to do is, there we go, quit. I need to put in the what do you call it? The graphing function. Okay. Sorry, I had to double check something really quick on this model. So once we're at stat plot, we've already entered list 1. What we're going to do next is we're going to hit the. I got to double check again. 1 second. Yeah, trace. We're going to hit the trace button. So that right there. No, where'd it go? Okay, there it go. No, I didn't want it to do that. Hold on. Let's go back to stat plot 1. Hold on. It's supposed to show me the list. Maybe it's graph. No. Hold on 1 second. Okay, one thing I forgot. Before you can trace this, you have to go to your y coordinates and make sure that any functions you have in your y plots are cleared out. Let me see here. I gotta check all 3 of these. Oops. Okay. Yep, they're all clear. Okay. So I gotta keep these empty. And then when I go to stat plot, it should trace it correctly. Hold on. Okay, so it's got my first plot. I don't see the plus mark. Okay, well, it's sending me through the different points on these data spots. I just don't see the plus marks. Hold on. Let's change it to box, see if that works. I am not seeing my points. What are you doing here, calculator? Okay, pause again. Okay, I figured out my problem. It was my zoom. I was zoomed in like that. I just had to go to zoom and click, what was it? Zoom, well, no. I had to hit zoom to fit. No, not zoom to fit, sorry. What was it? Was it zoom stat? Yep, zoom stat. All right, so if your zoom is super zoomed in, you have to hit zoom stat. Ignore that blue line. We haven't done that yet. I was probably supposed to clear that. Okay, so we've entered our data. We've successfully graphed it. We cleared all of our y functions. And now we have to figure out what this line is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to second stat plot, open our first plot. No, whoops, sorry. Quit. We're going to go to stat. So back where we entered that list in that stat menu, we're going to go to calculate. All right, and then we're going to scroll all the way down to linear regression. All right, no, sorry. First one, we're going to go to linear regression 1, which is ax plus b. I'm going to hit that. Our x list is list 1 that we made. Y list is list 2 that we made. For store rec, what do we type in? So store rec, we're then going to hit the, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to hit our alpha button and then F4, and then we're going to put it on Y1. So it's going to be in Y1. From there, we go down to calculate, hit enter, and it gives us our linear regression equation, which means that our A value is going to be that, our B value is going to be 25.64. And then from there, once that is inputted, we press the Y, go back to our Y list, and this is the equation to our answer. So it's going to be y equals negative 0.2075x plus 25.64. This is the answer to our problem. Yes, you can absolutely use your calculator. This is a lot of steps at first. Once we do it a little more often, it'll get easier, and it's a valuable skill to have. If we're going to be using these calculators, we have to know how to use these tools properly. So a little bit of a learning curve, even for me. But these are all the steps that we have to do and we have to get proficient at. And then our final answer for this problem is going to be, I'm going to pull that right off the calculator, y equals negative 0.2075 x plus 25.64. Now remember, this equation was in terms of gold and silver. Silver was y, so we'll rewrite this as Ag equals negative 0.2075 AU for gold plus 25.64 0.64. That is our final answer. And if we look in the book, that is what they have, just rounded to the nearest hundredth. If you leave your answer in the form that it came off calculator, that's fine. I've got no issues there. That's it for this lesson. Sorry this video took so long. And we'll get better at using our calculators, and we'll get better at plotting these, because again, the homework is not going to give you that nice graph anymore. You have to use your calculator to figure this data out. If you have any questions, let me know on Moodle.